Welcome back. Well, kind of, because if you're watching this online, you probably aren't back. But welcome back to doing schoolwork. We are going to be working on equations all week this week because they are so essential. You have to know how to solve an equation for so much in math, and it carries over to other subjects. So this week, we are going to spend quite a bit of time on equations. Today, we are going to do a review where together and then working with your groups. And if you're online, I'll be doing these ones with you. And then you're in charge of the individual. Let's make sure we know this so solid that there's zero doubt in your mind how to do this. I'm going to start actually on this side. So the first one is 3/4 q equals 2. To get rid of the 3/4, if it's next to it means times, the opposite of timesing is divide. So I'm going to divide by 3/4. 2 divided by 3/4. Grab my calculator, type in 2 divided by 3ABC4, and I get 2 2/3. Now, alternate way, I could do times 4/3. If I was doing it without a calculator, timesing by 4/3 would work as well, because that would cancel out. That's the same thing as dividing, and it works. To check myself, I plug it in and I say, does 3/4 times 2 2/3 in fact equal 2? Type it in my calculator. 3ABC4 times 2 2/3 is 2. So it does work out. Okay, this one, I'm going to do the second way. So instead of doing, I could divide by 3/4, and that would absolutely work, but I'm going to times by the 4/3 on this one as well. Times by 4/3, 2 times 4 is 8, 3 times 3 is 9. This method is really nice when you are using or trying to do it without a calculator. If you have a calculator, it's not nearly as essential to do this, but if you're working without a calculator, it's a lot more essential. And you'll see I just showed my work without a calculator on my check, and it does check out to 2/3. Okay, the next one, we're going into the 2 steps. This is a plus, so the opposite of adding is minus. Notice both of these don't have letters, so those are the two that need to go together, because this doesn't have a letter, this doesn't have a letter, they can be combined. This one has a letter, you cannot combine it. So my first step is to minus the 5.514 from both sides. And again, I can just grab a calculator really fast. If you're watching at home, if you don't have a calculator, just pull one up on Google. And we get 152.72. Divide by 9.2 on both sides. And we get 16.6. Now to check it, I do 9.2 times 16.6 plus 5.514. 9.2 times 16.6. I replaced the letter or the variable with my answer. And I get 158.234. So yes, it does check out. Okay, this one, neither one of these have a letter, so we're going to combine them. Opposite of minus is plus, so I'm going to add 2. And I get 0.25x equals 10. Divide by 0.25, divide by 0.25. 10 divided by 0.25 is 40. 0.25 times 40 minus 2. 0.25 times 40 minus 2. I replaced the x with whatever my answer was. And yes, it does check out to 8. Okay, this is a minus 2.9, so I'm going to add 2.9. Add 2.9. Negative 5.11 plus 2.9 gives me negative 2.21. And over 1.4. The opposite of dividing by 1.4 is times by 1.4. Do it on both sides. Negative 2.21 times 1.4 gives me negative 3.094. So then to plug it in, I do negative 3.094 divided by 1.4. Replace the n with my answer, and then just write everything else the same, and then type it in to see if it works. Negative 3.094 divided by 1.4 minus 2.9 is negative 5.11. Checks. Okay, on this one, I've got 2x minus 3/4 equals 3.25. I'm going to add 3/4 to both sides. I get 2x equals 3.25 plus 3 ABC4 is 4. Then divide by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So then I do 2 times 2 minus 3/4. 2 times 2 minus 3/4 is 3 1/4, and I can hit second fraction of decimal, that F to D. Right here means fraction of decimal, which is 3.25. Okay, on this one, my impulse is always to add these two, but this one's got a letter. That's not what I'm adding. I'm adding the ones without letters. So I'm going to move this one, and it's a negative, so I'm going to make it a positive 3.8 and add it here. Gives me negative 13.4p equals negative 460.606 plus 3.8, negative 456.806. Divide by negative 13.4 on both sides. So I get that negative. And I get P equals 34.09. Check it. I do negative 3.8 minus 13.4 times 34.09. Negative 3.8 minus 13.4 times 34.09 gives me negative 460.606. And this one, these two don't have letters, so those are the ones I'm combining. I minus the 3.9 from both sides. I get 0.4x equals 5.78 minus 3.9, 1.88. Take that 1.88, divide it by 0.4, and I get, step, x equals 4.7. Plug it in, 0.4 times 4.7 plus 3.9. 0.4 times 4.7 plus 3.9 gives me 5.78. That's a check. Add 2 to both sides here. I get 0.4x equals 8. Divide by 0.4. 8 divided by 0.4 gives me 20. 0.4 times 20 minus 2. Type that in. 0.4 times 20 minus 2 gives me 6. Add 2/3 here. Add 2/3 here. 5 ABC1, ABC3 plus 2 ABC3 gives me 6. So then I have 3x equals 6. Divide by 3. And I get x equals 2. 3 times 2 is 6, minus 2/3 equals 5 1/3. 3, type that in, 3 times 2 minus 2/3 gives me 5 1/3. So then you have, I've done most of these ones for you. You've just got these ones for homework. These ones are for those that are done and need more of a push as time allows. This one I'm going to be grading. This one is as time allows. I want you to work on it just because I know some kids know this really well and can get done fast and need more to do. And extra practice with this has got a lot more negatives. So if you have time, do this, but absolutely make sure this one's done. Have a fabulous day. Know that you're missed. We love you and we'd love to see you back. Hope your holidays were great. And keep being awesome.